this is Ryan Scarrett, team member at Make Florida Your Home. Thank you so much for visiting our blog and taking the time out of your day to learn about all of the great home programs and processes that we have built out for all of our first-time home buyers. So let's get down to the million-dollar question. Is now a good time to buy a house in Florida? So this is a common theme that we're seeing come up time and time again. With Florida just overtaking New York as one of the hottest markets in the nation, a question that comes up often is, am I too late to make my goal of buying a home a reality? And the answer is no, but you need to be focused and very determined when it comes to building out your blueprint to buying a home in Florida. So let's talk about some of the facts. The rates, that's been the big one on everyone's mind. With high interest rates and home values not falling, it can be really discouraging for a home buyer who is at a family event with coworkers or with friends, and they're comparing their situation to someone who got a home with a rate between 2.5% and maybe 3% 2 years ago. Now they're sitting in the position where rates are 7.5%. Home prices aren't falling, and they feel discouraged. Totally understandable. However, if you have your blueprint, which I'll get a little bit more into as we continue this video, in stone, and you know all of the strategies like team members you can utilize, programs that are available through you through the state of Florida, and have a sound understanding of where the market is now and what the experts are expecting it to do, which is come down at some point. As long as you have those foundations in stone, you're going to set yourself up for a bright future when it comes to home ownership. Now, I'm sure you've all heard that the interest rate when renting is 100%. That couldn't be more accurate. When you're renting, you're paying someone else's investment and building generational wealth for their family. It's important that you shift your focus on what's the long-term goal of becoming a homeowner. Most people want to become a homeowner because of stability, the ability to leverage the property, and then be able to, at some point, the starter home turn into the next step and then the next step, whatever that may be for you or your family. So when you talk about rates and how this affects payment, totally understand that it can be discouraging when interest rates are rising and there's some uncertainty in the market. However, if we fine tune and really focus in on budget and making sure that we understand that through some of these programs that we have, we can keep a significant amount of money in your pocket, where at that point you can take that savings and maybe address some areas of debt in your life that are at interest rates of 20+%, credit cards, car loans, installment loans, bring those down. And then what we do is we create a net positive savings of interest rate across your credit profile, which creates a healthy budget for your house. So when we talk about rates, there's a lot that go into it. No one has basically this fortune-telling machine that's going to say, here's what rates are going to be at this point, or where are they going. Some people luckily time the market well, and in the future, if rates continue to rise and you make the decision to become a homeowner, your timing may be perfect as well for securing a lower interest rate for where rates may go. So it's all relative, and as long as we keep that budget and blueprint really in stone, you're going to have a successful mortgage process and a good home buying journey with a healthy budget. Home values not falling is also another super frustrating thing, because we can all watch these videos and hear from family and friends that, hey, there's going to be a big crash in 08, 20, 30% falls in home value. Just hold on, just hold on. Well, the reality is that hasn't happened, and that's due to supply and demand, which is basically simple economics. With 1,000 people a day moving to Florida and there being not enough homes for sale, what's that's causing is that when a home does come for sale, there's a line of buyers going to that home. Now, what has changed is these crazy over asking situations where sellers are being unrealistic. So our home prices going like this and dropping down? Absolutely not. Are we seeing maybe more of a gradual, like in some markets like Miami, Orlando, Tampa, you were seeing 8, 9, 10% values in a year. Are we seeing that much growth? No, I don't think it's going to be like that anymore. I think it's going to balance out to more like national average around 5%. But what it really says is that the investment you're making in the state that you're making is a safe investment and is a healthy investment because you have people coming there as opposed to other states like California, Massachusetts, where people are leaving. And that means that your investment and the level and the amount of activity that's going to be attracted to your investment will continue to grow. So with home prices not crashing or coming down or the end of the world's coming, the reality is that that's actually a good thing for a home buyer because you don't want to get into a situation where you buy in a market where everyone's leaving and all of a sudden this investment you made is now 20-30% less. So home values are strong in Florida. The next thing to really think about is buyers having an advantage in the market. So we've established that there is a supply and demand issue. With a supply and demand issue, because interest rates have gone up, buyer pools and affordability have gone down in regards to what certain buyer pools can afford. Now in Florida, there's plenty of still buyer pools available. However, when you take out certain buyer pools, what that does is it allows leverage for buyers again. So 1-2 years ago, it was super frustrating as a professional in my line of business because you had to see buyers basically waive every contingency, go super above asking, and they were putting in multiple offers across houses, some of which they didn't check off all of the boxes. So in this market where the buyer's regaining some control, this is a really positive thing for me personally. And when coaching these buyers on their blueprints and offer strategies such as seller concessions, which can help with closing costs, it opens up a ton of opportunities for buyers to regain a little bit of leverage and make the deal that's good for them. And I can't hammer that home enough, is that in real estate, when you're making a deal, if you find a house you like, make the deal that's good for you. Are you going to get every single one of them? Absolutely not. But if you structure your blueprint and your deal to be tailored to you and your family, you will have success in this process. So also some great things that have happened in the industry. Loan level pricing adjustments have moved into favor of buyers again. So what that means is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac took a look at their matrix, which addressed certain adjustments for credit score, down payment, and they fine-tuned the hits that would be made to certain buyer pools, and that's going to allow those buyers to be able to get a more attractive interest rate in the market. Another great thing that happened was FHA came out and said that, okay, our mortgage insurance premium factor was at 0.85 or 0.80. That's expensive for mortgage insurance. And what they said is we need to figure out how we can help. So what are we going to do? We're going to take that mortgage insurance premium, we're going to lower it down to 0.55 or 0.50, depending upon what you put down. In the grand scheme of things, what that really equals is all money on your bottom line that you'll be saving and lowering your mortgage payment. So there's been a lot of great things that have happened where state and federal entities have stepped in and said, we're going to do what we can here to really help. So that's been amazing to see, as a mortgage professional for my buyers. The next thing is the programs out there. And this is a super important takeaway. So when you are looking at state bond programs, so that's going to be Hometown Heroes, FL Assist, FLHLP, you have some federal programs like Shinoa and other private investors where they're basically saying, if you have this certain kind of profile and you're a first-time home buyer, we're going to give you a 5% grant. We're going to give you 3.5% of support. We're going to give you $10,000 as a forgivable or non-forgivable option. So what does this mean? This means that money that was going to be coming out of your pocket to buy a house is now going to stay in your pocket. Keep in mind, in order to get access to these programs, not all lenders are the same. In order to offer some of the programs, actually the majority of the programs I just mentioned, you need to be aligned with a mortgage professional that's local in Florida. So if you're on the phone with a company in Michigan that's a large call center, or in Virginia, and they're basically just saying, here's our rate, that's it, you're with the wrong mortgage company, because there are so many levels of support that the state of Florida offers and the right kind of lenders offer, that if you're just going to one of these call centers, you're never going to reap the benefits. I can't tell you how many times home buyers call me already under contract, closing in 2 or 3 weeks, and they're like, oh my God, I just got these closing costs. Like, I figured out the down payment, but I don't know what to do about the costs. And then my team has to rush, throw a Hail Mary, which, shout out to my team. Thank you guys so much for consistently delivering. But it can be a much more organic and pleasant process than doing a fire alarm, trying to basically solve for this equation that should have been done in your blueprint stage. So with these grants, down payment assistance, closing cost assistance, it allows for a component of having a lower down payment and this assistance, which is really going to put you in a great situation, because like I said, it's going to keep money in your pocket. So how do I buy a house in 2023? And I keep mentioning this blueprint. And what a blueprint is it's your foundation and your plan for making the largest investment of your life, right? So this isn't something you should just fill out an online application and say, I hope this goes well. There's much more to it. So what I do is I take a very methodical approach with my customers and say, okay, we're going to put together your credit profile. The end result of putting together your credit profile is going to be a debt to income ratio. We're going to do our initial planning off of a qualifying debt to income ratio, which a healthy number to use is about 50%. At a 50% debt to income ratio, I'm going to put together a complete housing payment, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance, condo fee, HOA fee if applicable. Give them a full picture of what they're looking at, and then give it back to them and say, how does this feel? Live a couple months as if you're making this payment. Let's circle back. And once they have this payment and have a sound understanding of what goes in there and some advantages to keep some of those numbers low, they've got their budgeting stage done. The next thing, an itemized breakdown of every single closing cost that goes into a loan. This is where a lot of people struggle. So what ends up happening is their lender will be like, your closing cost is 10 grand. It's a horrible strategy. Sometimes it can be more, sometimes it can be less. I break down every cost and go through every line item of what each cost is and some strategies to keep those costs low. So when you take those two factors, monthly payment, and then you have closing costs, it's going to give you an idea what you're going to be spending monthly, your closing costs, and then some down payment options, which will ultimately lead to your bottom line. Once you have your bottom line, I then implement some grants, down payment assistance, closing cost credits from wherever I can get them. And then all of those credits take away from what that bottom line of yours is. Then we find out what we're left over with. The final component to all of this is I take your team and I do an in-depth analysis of who are you using for your team? Do you even know who your real estate team is? This team consists of realtor, mortgage, insurance, and title. Those 4 players are going to be directly involved in your home buying process, and you want to make sure that with those players, they're all contributing and giving and helping with rebates, discounts. And once again, when you take that team component comparative to what's left on your bottom line, if you have a realtor, an insurance agent, and a title company, and a mortgage partner that's all saying, hey, I'm going to give you this to make it a reality, as opposed to, here's your bottom line, here's your down payment, is what it is, you are going to find yourself year in and year out in the same issue, not making progress and not becoming a homeowner. So at Make Florida Your Home, how can we help? This blog that you're on has a link that says right at the top, right in the middle, and right at the bottom, check your eligibility. you're going to fill out some basic information. It's going to take you about 20 seconds. That's going to give me your name. I'm going to call you and do a personalized call with my team, and we're going to figure out your entire blueprint so we can get you the facts that you need to become a homeowner. The reality is it's a perfect time to buy in Florida. You can never time a market. You never know what the future is going to play. However, if your blueprint is in stone, your budget is healthy, we keep money in your pocket, and you utilize the mortgage program that's good for you and not good for the bank, then you are going to create a winning formula to allow yourself to have a successful home buying journey, create generational wealth, and be able to leverage this property for future endeavors. So thank you for following me and my team. Give us a like, do a comment, share us, and if there's anything that you ever need, I want you to reach out to us directly. All of our contact info is right on this site. I'm going to put it in the comments below as well. And thank you so much for the opportunity.